Assalamualaikum to billions Melayu mula syurga. Happy working. Cari rezeki yang halal ya, jangan yang haram.
Assalamualaikum and a very good evening. Today our group would like to present about main memory management. Main memory management is defined as the functionality of an operating system which handles or even manages primary memory and moves processes back and forth between main memory disks during execution. Memory management keeps track of each memory location regardless of either it is allocated to some process or it is free. Next, let's talk about continuous memory allocation.
Before we move on to main memory allocation technique, let me first explain about the main memory. Main memory is usually divided into two parts. One partition is for the operating system and another partition is for the user process. To maximize the capabilities of the CPU to multitask, this main memory should be loaded with many processes at one time. However, these processes might interfere with each other. So, to prevent this, we use the relocation register and the limit register. This register will prevent the process from accessing outside of their boundary. Now, let's talk about the memory allocation technique. So, one of the technique is the contiguous memory allocation. This technique is a classical memory allocation model which allocate consecutive memory block to a process. There are two methods in this technique. One of the method is fixed size partition and another one is the variable size partition. So to illustrate this more clearly, let's see the diagram, shall we? For fixed size partition, the main memory is divided into several fixed size blocks. Each block can only be loaded with one process at a time. When a process is terminated, the whole block it occupies can be reused again. In variable size partition, operating system keeps a table indicating which part of the memory are available and which part are occupied. When process arrive, the CPU check the available memory and allocate to them accordingly. The available memory is called a hole. When a process is terminated, it leaves a hole. This hole can be reused again. If a hole is adjacent to another hole, it will merge into one. Next is dynamic storage allocation problem. Dynamic storage allocation problem is which hole or block should be allocated to a process. The solution for this problem are first fit, best fit and worst fit. In first fit, we allocate first hole or block that is big enough to the process. In best fit, we allocate the smallest hole or block that is big enough to the process. In worst fit, we allocate the largest hole or block that fit to the process. Now, we will move on to fragmentation. There are two types of fragmentation, the internal fragmentation and external fragmentation. Internal fragmentation is the unused memory of a block that is allocated to a process. External fragmentation is when the total free memory space is bigger than a process, but the process cannot be loaded because the free memory is not contiguous.
So next we will learn about paging. Paging is basically a memory management scheme that eliminates the need for physical memory to be contiguous. This scheme will allow the physical address space to be non-contiguous. Mapping from virtual memory to physical memory will be done by memory management unit, which is a hardware device, and this mapping is called a paging technique. Generally, there are two main terms that we must know in this paging lesson. The two paging terms are page and frames. Physical address space is conceptually divided into same fixed block size, which called page, while logical memory address will be splitted into fixed block size. These two terms, pages and frames, must be divided into same equal blocks. Okay students, today I want to show you an example of paging. So I choose process X divided into 5 pages for my example. So this is logical address and this is physical address. These two components are divided into two more sub-components. So for logical address, they are page number and page offset, while for physical address, they are frame number and frame offset. So for this example, I will choose page 5. The information for page 5 is stated in this page table. So it means that page table consists of all 5 pages information. So in page table, it states that page 1 will go to frame 1. So the process will continue until page 5 which page 5 will go to frame 5. Okay, so this page number will be represented by this, while this frame number will be represented by this. But what this offset and offset means? So the offset means, as example, I chose page 5. So in page 5, there are many instructions. So offset we choose such as this second instruction, then it will execute with this second instruction with this page number to each frame. Okay, so this physical memory consists of the done page that has been executed. As you see here, there is a page without its frame number, which is page 4. Invalid means that the page is not there, is not in physical memory. So it means that maybe the page is in virtual memory. To overcome that, the page must be transferred from virtual memory to the physical memory. So this problem is called as page fault.
Swapping is a mechanism in which process can be swapped or moved temporarily out of the main memory to to secondary storage and make that memory to available to other process. Okay, next, at some later time, the system will swap back from secondary storage to the main memory. There are two examples of swapping, which is swap in, swap out, and roll in, roll out. So in general, we have covered about memory replication, paging, and also swapping. Next, let's get to know our star's name. That is all for our video today. Thanks for watching. See you next time.